Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one lined up for you today. XRP. It's not a security, it's a currency. But don't believe me when I say it. But you might want to believe the former CFTC chairman when he says it. Let's take a look. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. It's November 26th. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. The market cap for crypto is $2.474 trillion. It is off by 6.92%, bleeding pretty heavily this morning. We see Bitcoin down 54,800 and change, and we see Ethereum at $4,100 right now, and Solana is at $197 and change. Cardano is at $1.58, and XRP is at 96 cents. Whoop, whoop, blue light special on our crypto, XRP, baby. Not financial advice, but I'll be disciplined buying today. You can bet your bottom dollar. Today, I want to tell you about this right now. The numbers are brought to you by Pure VPN, ladies and gentlemen. And if you go to any one of my videos and you go down into the description box or the comment section and click on the very first link that is there, you will see this when you click on it. Right here. This is what you'll see. 88% off on Pure VPN. That's right. $1.33 a month for a 5-year deal. You can't beat it. Hide your anonymity online. Evade regional limitation restrictions. Defend against MITM attacks. Leave no digital traces of your identity. Dedicated IP to avoid getting banned from exchanges. And just all around that safe protection you feel every day when you're surfing online and doing the things that you're doing and feeling like I really do have that protection. But ladies and gentlemen, you got to click on the link just like I showed you in order to get it. Make sure you don't mess around. It is a really, really good feeling to feel protected like that. And a lot of that lends to conversation of what we're going to get into today. This is the World Economic Forum, and if you remember, I have discussed it on this channel multiple times. The critical infrastructure attack that happened on the U.S. oil pipeline, and now the oil pipeline attack, the cyber attack, is being highlighted here by the World Economic Forum just back a month ago. And what I want to share here is go over this very quickly to level set for what I'm getting ready to show you. And what I'm going to say is that we saw the largest cyber attack on the oil industry, right? We saw a cyber attack on the largest meat producer of the U.S. We saw a cyber attack on one of the largest IT companies with over 10 or 11,000 customers, right? We saw the GameStop, market manipulation that took place that's now being cited to the narrative that what? Everything is antiquated and vulnerable when it comes to our market infrastructures. That's the narrative. I've been pounding the ground about it for a while, and now the World Economic Forum is pounding the ground about it. Now, they got the pandemic right because they were practicing for that before it was even talked about or heard of. And now they're practicing for a cyber pandemic. That's what they're talking about here. So level setting right here. We know our market infrastructure around the globe is extremely vulnerable, and blockchain and cryptocurrencies and digital assets can help to plug the leaks. For us to move into this digital revolution, this fourth industrial revolution, this is a moment in time that has to happen. And I tell you, I think that narrative is going to become even louder and louder and louder. Now, I want to move through this information. I really want you guys to stay with me, even if you feel like you've seen some of it. We're going to a new place today through all of this, and I think you're going to feel good about it, even with the price of XRP falling like a manhole cover from the sky. I have talked many times about the understanding of what a note is. A note is a legal document that serves as an IOU from a borrower or creditor to or an investor. Notes have similar features to bonds in which investors receive interest payments for holding the note and are repaid the original amount invested, called the principal, at a future date. Now, that's just giving you a quick overview on that. The reason I'm talking about a note is because you know that when we hear Gary Gensler, or now even Hester Peirce, talk about what their defense is to why they got their nose in this crypto industry, they talk about the Howey test. ad nauseum. They talk about it, right? Well, I tell you, I think we know well and clear way that the Howey test does not work when you stand it up against XRP. But then they always talk about the Reeves test too, when something is a note. Let me show you here just very quickly to level set. Listen to these quick clips here. 1 minute from Hester Peirce right here. Listen to this.
In the crypto world, the one that's gotten the piece of the definition that's gotten a lot of attention is investment contract. And an investment contract was defined by something called the Howey test, which comes from a Supreme Court case about orange groves, which now a lot of people in the crypto world know. And the idea is, if you give me money and I tell you I'm going to build something, all you need to do is give me your money. You're going to get an investment return on your money. Just sit back, I'll do the work. And then that looks a lot like a securities offering, right? And so we're going to treat that as a securities offering. We're going to regulate that. And so that's kind of how we look at it through that lens. Now, there are other pieces of the definition of security, like what's a note.
Like what's a note, right? So she's talking about that. Now, let's hear this very quickly, because that sounds a lot like this guy right here. Let's listen to this right here. 1 second. Let me cue this up. Check it out.
I think there's a lot of clarity, this Howey test and these other tests, Reeves test. There's something called Gary, Indiana.
The Reeves test, which is when something is a note. Listen again very quickly right here. This is so important that we understand where all of this is coming from. And I got larger implications about where it may be going to.
What I think the core test is, and it's the test the Supreme Court has taken up numerous times with a broad brush, where you're raising money from others and to the investing public anticipating profits based upon the efforts in some collective group of individuals. That's central test. It's called the Howey test. There's other broad brushes with regard to this as well, as to when something is a note, called the Reeves test that Thurgood Marshall wrote.
Now that is, again, another example, and they use the Howey test like a bait and switch to me, right? We all are well aware that the Howey test does not stand up, to XRP. It does not pass the Howey test, making it a security. But they always mention this Reeves test, and when something is a note, well, let's talk about that for a second, right? Because the reality here is if we're going to talk about when something is a note, and I just told you here, and I want to remind you, however, a note can have many other applications. A note can refer to a loan or arrangement, such as a demand note, which is a loan without a fixed repayment schedule. Payback or demand notes can be called in or demanded at any point by the borrower. It says here, typically, demand notes were reserved for informal lending between family and friends or relatively small amounts. Notes can be used as currency. For example, Euro notes are legal tender and paper bank notes used in the Eurozone. Euro notes come in various denominations, including 5, 10, 20, 50, $100 euros. So notes can be used as currency, right? When something is a note is a financial security that generally has longer term than a bill, but shorter term than a bond. Notes can be used as currency. Just because something is a note doesn't mean that it has to be a security. We take a look right here. This is an image of the dollar bill. I want to read this. What is a Federal Reserve note? Because when we look at a dollar bill, we see written at the very top of it, Federal Reserve note. Now, a note is currency. It can be used as currency. That is exactly what you're looking at here, a US dollar currency, right? That's what you're looking at. So we look right here. What is a Federal Reserve note? A note is termed to describe the paper demand liabilities of the Federal Reserve, commonly referred to as the dollar bills, which circulate in the U.S. as legal tender, right? Federal Reserve note is the monetary unit of the U.S. economy. Now, with that being said, maybe you've not been in this space long enough, but there was some time ago when the former CFTC chairman, Chris Giancarlo, actually wrote a incredible breakdown of XRP against the Howey test. And you know what he found? He found that it was not only not a security, but he believed it to be a currency. Let's take a look here. If you break this down, and in fact, his paper was so incredibly powerful and damning to the Howey test that it can't be found on the internet these days. Now, Chairman Emeritus Giancarlo, who is deemed crypto dad following an impassioned speech he gave to Congress where he credited Bitcoin for finally getting the kids interested in finance, is at it again. He had written a detailed argument published this morning at the time, International Financial Law Review, for why XRP cryptocurrency, formerly known as Ripples, was also not a security. The only problem is he's no longer a regulator at this time. In fact, his employer is on the payroll of Ripple, the largest single holder of XRP, whose co-founders actually created the cryptocurrency. The bombshell paper titled Cryptocurrencies in U.S. Securities Law Beyond Bitcoin and Ether, co-authored by commodities law lawyer Conrad Bauke of New York law firm Wilkie Farr and Gallagher, LLP, methodically reviews the criteria of the Howey test established by the SEC in 1946 to determine when something is a security. And the point-by-point argues that XRP does not qualify. Rather, the paper argues, like its name would indicate, cryptocurrency is a currency of perhaps more interest to the Federal Reserve and central banks than security regulators. The article goes on to say here, if you break it down and take a look at it, ultimately, under the fair application of the Howey test and the SEC's presently expanding analysis, that's politely put, XRP should not be regulated as security, but instead considered a currency or medium of exchange. Giancarlo Bauke argue in the paper the increased adoption of XRP as a medium of exchange and form of payment in recent years, both by consumers and business-to-business setting, further underscores the utility of XRP as a bona fide fiat substitute. Here's where I remind you not only of the remittance corridors that we've seen lately, like UAE and Saudi Arabia opened up, or Japan and the Philippines, which is actually using the asset XRP to settle those transactions, but I also remind you of the Central Bank of Bhutan and the recent Republic of Palau that are going to launch their nationally backed stablecoin off of the XRP ledger as well. I think there's much more going on here than we are even aware of, and it will continue to unfold over time. And if you think about these strategic, I believe, very strategic moves to reveal these partnerships from Ripple about XRP and the ledger and the use of all of these products, this currency, this bridge currency, I believe what you're seeing is the case be made right in front of the judge and the court while this case begins and still unfolds to this day. And I tell you, I have said it many, many times that this is not just a legal case. This is a vetting process. And the former CFTC chairman believes also that XRP is in fact a currency as well. Now let's take a look at this to just drive the matter home even further. Then there's the reminder here. The Federal Reserve Faster Payments Task Force, which has been working with Ripple at least since 2017, right? Straight through processing, breaking new ground with electronic remittance information. We know the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has already cleared XRP as a virtual currency to be used between banks and credit unions. We just need the other agencies to fall in alignment. And then we just heard recently BIS, Augustin Carstens, who is the head of the Central Bank of Central Banks. And then he made these remarks about the prototype testing that went on that helped to eliminate pre-funding accounts, for which we know the benefit of XRP as a bridge currency unlocks the nostro money for many people around the world in the tune of 12 to 20 plus trillion dollars. And frees that money up for the first time ever. And you would think now, at this time, would be one of the best times to unlock that dormant capital around the world to reignite this global economy that has been shut down from a liquidity crisis and a pandemic. Listen.
Indeed, the answer is yes. The prototype achieved a substantial improvement in cross-border transfer speed from multiple days to seconds. Second, The cost of such operations for users can also be reduced by up to half.
Seconds.
The prototype let participating central banks control the flow of their CBDC and monitor transactions and balances of their issued CBDC with programmable levels of transaction privacy and aspects of automated compliance. It used algorithms and smart contracts to improve liquidity management along the transaction chain, as opposed to individual correspondent banks having to manually estimate supply and demand and pre-fund their own individual accounts.
There it is. There it is. Not only does he talk about this prototype helps us settle in seconds, reduces the fee in even less than half, but then also it eliminates as opposed to having to pre-fund accounts. So it eliminates pre-funding accounts. Ladies and gentlemen, Augustin Carstens just described to you every aspect of XRP in the XRP ledger. Am I speculating? You better bet I am. But I don't think it'll be very long before this speculation turns to fact. In fact, to some degree, it already is fact, isn't it? Central Bank of Bhutan is already doing it. The Republic of Palau is already doing it. And they plan on launching their digital currency in the first half of next year. So within 6 months. This isn't about whether it's going to happen. I just gave you 2 real examples of the fact that it is happening. That is not speculation. The question is what kind of adoption will we see? 5% adoption globally? 20%? 40? 60? Or 100? I don't know, but I'm here until it happens. I can tell you that. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. And I want to tell you as well, make sure you check out link2.com. Link2.com. Let me tell you right now, if you're not aware, make sure you go here and sign up and register, ladies and gentlemen, even if you are not accredited, which you have to be to get these products. I think not too long from now, if we in fact watch this roll out the way we do, at some point, XRP is going to make pretty much most people hearing my voice an accredited investor. And even if you're not, and you won't be for a while, you're wise to join this platform and this group because they have access to data points through CB Insights collaboration that really gives you free access to all these data points of these companies, which is a value of over $300,000 if you were to pay to be a member. And you can get it for free. So make sure you sign up today. And I tell you, these products do not last long. So if you're looking for a Ripple or a Link2 or Kraken or Uphold or any of these other great products, you better not mess around because they go very, very quickly. I'll catch all of you on the next one.